Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Kiss for Luck. I'm Steve Wolf,
I'm Charisse Wolf.
and we are here with our normal, usual Pick Five master, Mike Crutchfield from Northern California. Hi, Mike.
How are you all this morning?
We are great. We are wonderful, sir. And our special guest today is from FanDuel, on-air personality handicapper Caleb Keller. Hello, Caleb.
Steve and Charisse and Mike, very happy to be on with you. And we got a fun weekend of racing. We've come to the end of the trail of Churchill Downs, which of course started on Derby week and the Los Alamitos Derby. So it's going to be a good Saturday.
Yep.
Mhm.
Amen it is. Amen it is. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pop right into the handicapping because I know a lot of people tune in for that. Mike, what do you have for us and where, sir?
So hopefully I can give out some more money this weekend, but I like to go to Churchill Downs for I guess you call it the mid pick five that day. Great card at Churchill, by the way, and I think there's some opportunities to make some money. And this pick five is going to be it's going to be $135 play. I know people say that you got to have a single. Well, my philosophy is, the tough, if the racing is tough, the card is tough, and you don't have a single, sometimes you don't. But in this case, I do not have a single. But we'll go ahead and start in the sixth race, and it's a maiden race. And what I'm going to do is, I like a lot of the first time starters, due to the fact that most of these races, when you got Pratt riding first time starters and Ortiz, Rosario, and those type folks, I'm just going to take a shot against the horses that have already won. So, and we got some good pedigree in that race. So the first race, I'm going to go 1, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to spread out there, and they're all first time starters. We have some really good pedigree plays in there. The number 9, Lost and Found, has William Walden as a trainer, 19% first time out. With Pratt, he's at 27%. So it's stuff like that that I look at for first time starters. And so I'm going to use those horses, and I'm going to use my top pick, the number 9, Lost and Found.
All righty. 1, 8, 9, 10, 11. The next race, sir.
Yeah, so the next race is a stakes race, and again, I'm gonna use 3 in here. I don't trust Torpedo Anna. I just don't trust her. She, it seems to me, has started to just decline a little bit, and I really look at that with fillies and mares, and so I wanted to throw her all the way out, but I just didn't have the courage to do it. So I am going to include her. But the horses that I'm really interested in playing for a win bet are the number 1, Royal Spa, and number 4, Jin Jin. They are both improving, and I think that the secret to this race and what people are learning, you got to take it to Torpedo Anna early, take her heart away, and I think that the 1 and 4 could actually come in there and pay a decent price at 5 to 2 to 3 to 1.
Okay, so you're gonna stick the 3 in there as well, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick her in there because I'd hate to lose my ticket because I feel pretty confident about this ticket, and I'd hate to lose it because I'm being a bonehead and leave Torpedo Anna out, and then I got to deal with Charisse saying, "What? How could you leave Torpedo Anna out?" So I'm not gonna be, and I love to leave a horse out like this,
You
and
do.
normally I would because that's how I make my money at the track. I just try to take advantage of the mistakes that the public is making, and but I just couldn't do it this time.
Okay, race number 8, the
Oh,
Tepin.
Yeah, so race number 8, I tell you, it runs through the 5 and the 6. Obviously, Lush Lips, you got Pratt there, and that horse is a decent horse. So I'm gonna use 5, 6, but the shot in there that I'm gonna do a flat win bet on is the number 4, Princess Attitude. I think that horse is improving and could be dangerous at 8 to 1. So again, I'm going to use 3 horses, and I'm going to use the 4, 5, and 6 there.
Oh.
All right, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you definitely get some value if that 4 hits. The next race, sir.
Yeah, so next race, I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use Dr. Vinkman and I'm going to use Booth. Now, there's a lot of speed in this race, and I know Caleb has probably looked at it already. And I mean, there's a bunch of speed in this race, and I really believe this is the toughest field that Booth has faced in a while. So there's going to be some horses looking him in the eye, when they're that first quarter of a mile, and we're going to see what type of heart he has. I think the one can sit right off of that speed and come. But the horse that I think has a real shot at a price is number 6. Happy is a choice, and I say that just because of the way the race is setting up. Ton of speed in there, and that horse is going to be finishing. I promise you, that horse will be finishing late.
Yep. All right. So next race after the 136 there, we've got the Wise Dan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna use Cherie DeVaux's horse. I'm gonna use the number 6 at 8-1. That horse is gonna be double tough in this race. Her and Ortiz, I mean, they do so well together on the turf, and that horse was improving before the layoff. So I really like the 6. And a horse that's improving that I'm going to throw in there is the number 8 that just comes off an impressive win at Pimlico, Fort Washington. Is really, really improving. I like these horses when they're improving like that. So I'm going to use 6, 8. I'm going to throw the 4 out. The 4 has just had a tough campaign, and you only got so many good races in you. Like my buddy Mig tells me all the time, Crutch, they only have so many good races in them.
True.
And that's all they have. And I think that horse is the 4 has run so many tough races. I think it's going to eventually start to catch up with that horse. So anyway, that's my pick 5. It's a $135 ticket. Add them as you want or subtract them. It's up to you. This is just my thought on how the sequence is going to go.
All right. For the pick 5, just to recap, it's 1, 8, 9, 10, 11 with 1, 3, 4, with 4, 5, 6, with 1, 3, 6, with 7, 8, or 6, 8, excuse me.
6, 8.
6, 8.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't a Freudian slip there.
Ooh.
Well, now I'm going to have to throw
throw
them
the
in.
7 in.
Uh-oh. What did I say? All right. Excellent. That is super. Well, Caleb Keller, what do you have for the fans today?
All right, I got some picks there along with Mike in the big races at Churchill, and I also got some spot plays at Los Al on Saturday. But let's start with the Stephen Foster, and this is a really strong addition. We've seen reigning Breeders' Cup Classic champions in this race. I can think of Curlin, and I can think of Gunrunner. The difference was those horses were 2-5 and 1-2 odds, whereas Sierra Leone is actually now facing a really strong field. And I know it's only 7 horses in the race, but between the major 6, this is probably the deepest Foster that I've seen. And I've been covering this race for a solid 20 years now, and the depth of this is really strong. But I'm going to go with the number 1 First Mission. When I was at the 2023 Derby, Brad Cox had the favorite for both the Oaks and the Derby. He had Wet Paint and he had Angel of Empire. Well, all trainers pretty much stashed their best horse in stall number 1. And in 2023, Brad Cox had First Mission in stall number 1, and that was with the Derby and Oaks favorite. He was slated to go to the Preakness that year, but something came up. And there's been times where he's been a bit of a disappointment. He didn't fire in the Pegasus. The Muddy Whitney didn't get going. But I really think that this horse, to me, First Mission, reminds me a little bit of Accelerate. Because we see a lot of horses that are good at 3 and great at 4. Your horses like White Abario, Vino Rosso. But some horses are good at 3, better at 4, and then great at 5. And 5 was the key number for Accelerate. And I'm looking at the 2 races for First Mission this year. The third beating a neck, at first it looks like First Mission, the Razorback was hanging, which I don't think was the case. Alexander Helios was super live. Gaffleone's agent told me that was the only reason they went to Oakland that day was to ride Alexander Helios. Banishing was in monster mode right now, and they set an easy pace. And First Mission almost came and got him off the layoff. Then he gets the 109 career best buyer. He doesn't mind riding the inside. You get Saez and Cox, and I feel like everything they've said about First Mission is soon to be realized here in the Foster on Saturday. And then the race before, I'm riding with Mike here on Brilliant Birdie. The horse loves Churchill, 4 for 4 on the turf. The only loss was last out, and the horse did not want to make the lead. Brilliant Birdie likes coming from off the pace substantially. They showed they can make the lead. Now I think they split the difference. They can kind of sit as stalking trip. Brian Hernandez makes a lot of great moves, and Cherie DeVaux, her stock is ever rising. And then if we peel it back to the 9th race, the Kelly's Landing, I'm a little susceptible on Booth. Booth is on a 4-race winning streak. He's very fast. I know that Asmussen loved this horse to begin, but I didn't think that was a very strong field at Pimlico. Epic Ride and Celtic Contender, and even the race before that, Rivet and Anarchist. I'm not totally ready to take Eric Asmussen on a favorite, in a stakes race. I like the jockey, but at the same time, like this is a real race. And I'm going to go with Dr. Venkman. I know that last year wasn't the best Pacific Classic, but he was even money in the Pacific Classic. I'm really liking this time of year when you have a quality horse second off a layoff. If you've got a good stakes horse, they're not going to fire their best shot off the layup. Running second to Nisos in his career best race is fine enough. You get Freysu off of the Santa Anita win. So in the big stakes races, I'm going to go First Mission in the Foster. I'm going to look for Brilliant Birdie in the Wise Dan and Dr. Venkman in the Kelly's Landing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
And then Los Al, real quick, I'll give you all a couple of Los Al here daytime. So
go for it.
Los Al, I've got a double race 4. It looks like in race 4 on Saturday, Los Alamitos daytime, Lady Lollipop looks like just that. I mean, I'm looking at that race. I'm thinking, how is the 5 going to lose that race? Give me the 5 as the favorite and a double. I'm going to play a $10 double, 5 in race 4. Then in the 5th race, I'm going to go against the favorite. I know that the 7 Final Table Lady is a potential lone speed, but I looked at the pedigree in that 5th race. There's a lot of turf pedigree, and they don't have a turf course at Los Al. So I'm going to take out the turf pedigrees. I'm going to go for just the 2 Sassy, like the dirt pedigree, and the number 3 Jasmina, who also has really nice dirt pedigree. So it's going to be a $10 double starting in race 4. Very simple. 5 with 2, 3. And then later on in the card, in that Los Alamitos Derby, I'm going to go with Varney. The thing about Varney I think is interesting. How about the Kentucky Derby future pool put Varney on the Derby future odds before he raced? So that tells me that they always like this horse. I think he'll be a little bit underestimated off that gate to wire win at Pimlico. They might go to Nevada Beach in that race. But to me, Varney is always a horse they thought very highly of, and maybe he sees that potential realized on Saturday.
All right. Fantastic. Varney in the big race. Fantastic. Well, Charisse, what do you have, my dear?
Well, I want to start off. I'm sure most people have heard by now that racing has lost due to retirement Dwayne Lucas. He is at home resting under care. We want to wish him, his wife Lori, his family, his grandsons and great grandsons, the support and the love. We're keeping them all in our prayers. Wayne Lucas, right? The all-time leading Breeders' Cup trainer with 20 wins.
Wow.
4 Kentucky Derby wins, 7 Preakness wins, 4 Belmont wins. I mean, I started paying attention to racing with my dad in the 80s. I was in my 20s, and he was a legend. He was an absolute, down here in Southern California, we all wanted to know Dwayne Lucas, a gentleman and a hell of a trainer. Thoughts and prayers are with you, and thank you for everything you've done for this crazy racing world we love.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go to Los Al tomorrow night because we will still be here tomorrow. No, we won't be here tomorrow night.
No, we're not going to do the double this time.
No, but we will Sunday, daytime, nighttime.
Yeah, we're doing the Sunday double.
I'm going to go to the 5th race Saturday night, and I'm going to do a pick 3. I'm going to start with number 6, who is the morning line favorite. Diamond Party, Elena Andrade, Rodrigo Aceves in the irons, one of my favorite jockeys. I'm going to single number 6, Diamond Party. I'm going to go to the 6th race, and I'm going to use the 5 at a bit of a price at 7-2 with our former trainer Valentin Zamudio with his buddy Ruben Lozano in the irons. I think this horse, if he can get a good break, stay up there, I think he'll wire it. Number 5, Deluxe Cartel. And then I'm going to make it easy on myself in the 7th race, and I'm going to hit the all button, and I'm going to use all. So for each dollar increment, it's going to be $6. Play it a few times. Worth a shot, right?
Yeah, no
Like
problem.
I always say, worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Worth a shot. Well, I guess it's my turn. So tomorrow I'm going to the Churchill Downs 8th race. Our other 2 guests here have talked about some of these horses, but I'll just fire away. So in the 8th race, I am going to go with the 5 and the 6 as as Mike mentioned. I think it runs through Lush Lips and Vixen, and I want to spread later on in this. It's a $3 increment, by the way, so we'll add that up later. But we're going to go 5-6 in that first leg. The next leg is the 10th race, the Wise Dan. I'm going to throw Mi Hermano Ramon in there, the shipper for Glatt with Frezu on board. And Frezu's a great turf jockey, and you just never know how good Glatt's going to be on the ship. So I don't want to be caught off guard thinking, oh, these Kentucky guys are going to beat the shipper. I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to throw him in there. I'm putting the 3 in there. Mercante, I think he's got one more good race in him. So I'm going to put the 4 in there. And I'm all about Brilliant Birdie. So that's probably why I mistakenly said the 7 from Mike when he said
Ah,
6-8. So I'm also going to put in Fort Washington because I agree with you, Mike. I think he's really coming into form right now, doing really, really well. So in the 12th race, the final of the pick 3, the American Derby, it's a mile and 16th on the turf. I'm going to go 2-3-6 here. Flying Mohawk, Tistastic, and Freedom's Not Free. This is a $72 ticket, but I want you to look at the 2 Flying Mohawk for a second here. Whit Beckman, they thought very highly of this horse. Obviously, they tried to get him into the Derby via the synthetic route, the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway, and then the slop came, and Flying Mohawk did not like what he was doing there. But if you go back to October 27th last year, maiden special weight, he won by 5 lengths on this Churchill course. So he likes the turf course here. Obviously, if he wins by 5 lengths, and that probably is what spurred them into trying to make him a Derby horse. But he's on his preferred turf. He's back to the turf, and I think that 8-1 is going to hit it right between the eyes. We can get that one on the pick 3. That's going to be great. And of course, always when you go these turf pick 3s at $3 increments, they always pay. So I think $72 is a nice little wager there, and I think we're going to get a nice payout.
mhm.
Now,
Hey, Steve, I have a question for you. So, about the horse you chose, Glatt's horse. How do you feel about horses going from west to east on the turf? Because the way I look at it is, the east usually to me has the better turf horses, and so I usually that's an automatic toss out for me when horses are going west to east on the turf. But when they're going west to east on the dirt, I think our dirt horses are better than the East Coast dirt horses generally. So what's your thought about horses going from turf horses going from west to east?
generally, I think when it's a turf horse that just has stayed at Santa Anita or stayed out here, Del Mar, I don't particularly care for those. But this horse has traveled before at Gulfstream and was only 2 lengths behind Spirit at St. Louis. Obviously,
Hmm.
that's a heck of a horse. So you look at that run. Went to Keeneland back in April 2023. It was only 3 lengths back. To Mostache and Nagarok and Web Slinger. I mean, that was a live race. So I think this horse can certainly travel, and that's what I'm counting on. I'm counting on the travel, and it's going to finish strong. And I'm hoping that that's going to be our closer. I think the 6 is going to close as well. But if Brilliant Birdie can't do it, why not put your money on Glatt? Because he's a heck
Hmm.
of a trainer. So
Yeah.
that's
And
my
what
thought on
about?
it.
Yeah, I wonder Caleb. What is your thought on turf horses going from west to east?
Usually it is from a class perspective a real tough jump. Mi Hermano Ramon though is a horse that I've always liked. One thing I realized about this horse going into the Shoemaker, the horse really does not like the inside 2 posts because when he's come off that long layoff, he's had 4 1 and 2 posts, and every time he got trouble. 2 posts at Del Mar, he was pulling. 1 post in the Lure, he altered. He was in the 1 post in the Kilroe, got buried. He was in the 2 posts in the Pegasus World Cup. Big Field got stymied. He's a big, huge, physical, long horse, and I absolutely loved him in the Shoemaker Mile. I was a little disappointed that he got too into the bit and sat a close third. But I think that Frey Sue is going to work out a nice trip. I'm not worried. I know he has the 3 post, but there's not a ton of speed. I think that he can work out a clear trip. But if he gets put on the inside in a big field, sometimes he loses momentum. Yes, I do agree with Mike here in the fact that it's a super tough uh, ship to go from a West Coast turf scene to a Midwest grade 2. But I'd be willing to make an exception because even though this guy only has 1 win in the last year, he's a real talent and was second to Johannes at Santa Anita. Johannes is 7 for 7 on the turf at
Mm-hmm.
Santa Anita.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And he ran that in 146. I mean,
Yeah.
holy moly. That's a pretty
Mhm.
swift mile and eighth. So
Yeah.
good for him. Uh, okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of the good stuff here. So Caleb, did you
Can we give out a price today?
Oh, wait a minute. We've got a
Yes.
price alert.
All right, Caleb, price alert. Here we go. I'm torn between two horses, but I'm going to give it out. It's today. I'm sneaking a bet in. I'm going to sneak one bet in today.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the last race today, Los Alamitos daytime. I'm torn between the 9 and the 10. Caleb, can you help me out with this if you have your PPs
Okay.
up? I I like the 9, the Doug O'Neill horse, but the 10, Marcia Storts puts Edwin Maldonado on. Edwin can get that horse out of the gate,
Yeah.
wire to wire, and I think this horse can go, what is it, 5.5 furlongs. And I think at 8 to 1, we're gonna close out the pick four in a big way. Gary John, number 10 in today's last race. What do you think?
I literally went to school with the Gary John, so shout out to Gary John Bierman, who I don't believe is watching the show currently. But the hidden part of the talent on the 10 is okay. So we see the 10 has gone gate to wire at Los Al in the maiden and the allowance, but the horse broke seventh and eighth. So if Maldonado, one of the gate masters, if he can just get the 10 to break a little bit sharper out of the blocks, I think that this horse will definitely be undervalued at the windows.
Okay. All right. There's your long shot, gentlemen. Woo-hoo!
Gary John.
There we
Gary
go.
John.
In memory of, well, not memory, but
Yeah.
for
Now,
Caleb's friend, Gary John.
speaking of Caleb, so obviously we see you on FanDuel all the time. You've been doing this for a while. So if you're born and raised in the Midwest, I understand. And how did that affect you getting on a racing network? And tell us your history there.
So I was born at the all the way southern tip of Indiana. It's a little place called Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, but it's basically right across the Ohio River from Louisville. So essentially, I grew up in the Louisville metro area, and of course, the Derby like spells out the spring time in Louisville. And my family each year would have a big Derby party where basically like a family reunion for everybody to come over. We'd just draw names out of the hat, cut them out of the newspaper, dollar cup, $5 cup, you know the deal. But my family, I grew up on a farm with cattle, but not necessarily horses, and didn't necessarily have anybody in my family that was involved in horse racing. But I always loved sports and stats, and I had my mindset on trying to become a sports broadcaster. At the time, I was trying to cultivate to become maybe a play-by-play caller there for basketball. And turned out I had a chance to go to Indiana University, and they had a sports communications major that I could major in. And I had watched TVG for a long time. It was always on at the house. And it just was a long story that I had a chance to meet with the guy from the Cincinnati Reds. He gave me a chance at the end of the year. There were a million games out of 500. He allowed a college kid, fresh graduate, to come and meet the guys in the booth. And before I went, I researched all the broadcasters so I would know what to talk about when I saw them. And one of the guys, the sideline reporter for the Reds, Jeff Pecoro, I saw in his biography that he had done stuff with the Kentucky Derby. So I met him at the game in the lunch break room, and we started chatting about the Derby. And he's like, "You should try to get an internship with TVG." And I knew Jason Barkley, who you might know, he trained for a while, was a really good trainer.
Mhm.
I got in touch with some guys I knew on the backside, and they put me in touch with a producer at TVG, and they gave me a 5-day internship at the 2011 Breeders' Cup to simply get there in the mornings, work the walkie-talkie, say when Royal Delta, whoever it was coming onto the track. And then right before that started, they had an intern for the Keeneland meet that fall that ended up taking another job in Europe at the last second. So that thing opened up, and they already had me on the hook for 5 days, and they offered me the Keeneland internship as well, and then it went from there.
Beautiful.
That's
Beautiful.
amazing. Well, Caleb, we've known you what, 13 years?
Yeah,
You've
probably.
always supported us with our horses, and you're our friend.
I got to say, Steve and Charisse, in my mind, are the first couple of Los Alamitos, and I absolutely mean that. One of my favorite couples to see there.
Yeah.
You guys are always
Yes.
worried about the health of the horse and
Yeah.
the trainer and the jockey. I know you guys have a great time out there. Your passion for racing is always fun. You have great style. Every time I see y'all, you're looking great with the fantastic smiles. But I got to say, if I had to pick a first couple of Los Alamitos, I'm picking Steve and Charisse Wolf.
So
They're solid
Hey.
bird.
you,
Solid bird.
Caleb.
We
Yeah.
won. We won the sweepstakes. Well, obviously, you see, we are here at Los Alamitos. I did forget to say that at the beginning of the show, but want to thank Ruben, Orlando, and certainly
Cathy.
Cathy Allred. And it's no mistake that we happen to pick the one near, their silks up here. So,
Oh yeah, that's
like,
smart.
hey, you gotta look out for the
The home
homeboys
team,
and the
yeah.
Yep,
homegirls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yep, yep.
Yeah.
anyway, but
And,
we'd like to thank them for allowing us to do this here.
and Caleb, congratulations on your marriage. I know it's been a couple of years, but congratulations.
Yep.
Thank you. And I would not have thought that somebody growing up in Southern Indiana would meet a girl from Uberlândia, Brazil, but met
Yeah.
out here in Los Angeles. And I'm actually going to Brazil for the second time. It's going to be next week on Wednesday. I'm going to
Awesome.
go and spend the week with the dad's side of her family in a place called Natal, Brazil. So that was my first time ever
Yeah.
out of the country, was last year, but it was a
Yeah.
great
Awesome.
experience.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen your pictures. You're a beautiful couple.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
safe travels, Caleb. And I always ask our guests this one question because my biggest handicapping score was like 38,000. So, what has been the best betting coup you've ever had in horse racing where you just said keep the hundreds coming?
Mm.
What's
You know what?
your biggest score?
It would have been a couple of fall meets ago. It was the Bing Crosby meet at Del Mar, and they had the mandatory. This is back when they had the mandatory 20-cent pick six, and I played a couple of tickets. And let's see here, Ken DeSormo got put up late on a Peter Miller and hit at like $60. So the pick six is going well. It's 3 for 3. It's 4 for 4, and then the single was 5 for 5. And I got to the last race, and it was the fog. It was a weird day at Del Mar. Last race of the year. Fog was rolling in, and on the turf, I had 3 horses, the 3, 5, and 7, and I felt pretty good about it. I considered hedging, but there weren't too many options to hedge because it was a big field of 12. And nevertheless, 3, 5, 7. I'm watching them through the fog, and it's just the 3, 5, and 7 are coming right there down the lane. And the 20-cent pick six paid 10,000. And the best part was I played 2 different tickets, and both of them hit. So drove home with two pick sixes.
That's fantastic.
That's
There's
awesome.
no better feeling, huh, Caleb, than that.
That's when I look back at my year in racing. It's funny because I try like most, but I keep an eye and make my goal to have a profitable year. And we know this is very difficult, and I know that I'm very fortunate to have a lot of good handicapping information and have the time to do it. But last year when I look back and was able to have a profitable year, a lot of times the way we play, and I can tell the way Mike plays with pick fives, for the most part, I'm really looking to have, if I'm lucky, one big hit every couple months.
Yes.
It's a lot of losses. It's a lot of disappointment. But when you're playing the 5s and 6s of the world, that one that hits back in, what was it, February or May, it can, 5 of those bad boys can pay for the whole year. And that's how I like to play.
Yeah.
You just said what I've been telling Charisse and Steve the whole time. I stopped win betting unless I just pick my spots there because I was getting killed in betting horses by trying to get it that way with the win bet. But I went to pick 4s and 5s in the last 3 years. I've had winning years, so I'm gonna keep that cadence up.
Yeah, I don't. The idea of like grinding out a profit, or it's like, yeah, of course you could do it on a day, but ultimately you have to realize that this is very much like baseball. The best hitters are going to have 70% where they don't get the hit. But it's a fun way. It also does set you up for some real disappointments. A couple weeks ago, I don't know how this horse lost at Gulfstream for a pick 6 that would have paid very nicely. So if you can deal with the bad beats and kind of sustained runs where you're not hitting, the glorious time where your pick 5 or pick 6 does come, just makes up for it all.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No doubt about it. It's like you said about grinding. This is something that somebody's dad told her for years and years. Charisse, you cannot bet every race.
You can't win every race.
Yeah. Well,
And I said, why not? Why can't I win every?
That's another key factor too. Spending more time and more money on less races. So if I used to go to Churchill Downs and there's a 10 race car, this is like when I first started going. Okay, Churchill Downs, 10 races, I got $60. Okay, this is easy math. I'm betting a $6 box every race. No, if you could actually peel it down, you like a horse in the 3rd, the 7th, and the 9th, and now you're betting $20 on those if you're working with a smaller budget. That's the way to go to me.
Yes.
Yep. No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, the ticket that Mike gave out last week was what, $96 play, paid $2,200.
Oh
And you
Lord,
could
very
easily
nice.
spend 96 for,
Yeah.
win bets, win plays, a couple of
Yeah.
doubles, and maybe win a couple of $100 instead of 2,200. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're
That's my whole thought on that, Steve. You're right. I can't beat this game by playing win bets. It's just too tough.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's always three or four horses or five horses in each race that could probably win the race.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
and
true.
one last thing about that pick five that you hit, also too, if you keep really good levels on what you're going to bet. Okay,
Yep.
so Mike gives out $100 ticket, hits for 2,200. Well, we've all been there where that happens. You know what? I could start maybe playing like $200 or $300 pick. So
Mhm.
if you just stick with that same like 100 to 150, well now
Yeah.
you got 20 something more that you could hit and still be up.
Exactly. That's the
True.
that's the secret sauce. You just said it. It's the secret sauce there for
Yeah.
sure.
Our dear friend Tom Heller, rest his soul, but he's a big player in Southern California at the tracks, and he actually started an online NHC qualification website when he was alive. But Tom's favorite thing to do on the $2 pick six was a $54 ticket.
Hmm.
He'd go three singles and three threes,
Yeah.
and he loved that. And I convinced him one time to do a pick five with me. And he says, "All right, where's our single?" So I hit a 7-2 single, and it paid like $2,000.
Hmm.
And it was fantastic. I remember that memory with us at Santa Anita, just the biggest smile on his face, and he was kind of a grumpy guy, but he says that was a good single. That was a good
Hmm.
single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that 7-2 single, and I've heard Matt Carruthers say this on FanDuel as well. You beat that favorite in that one race and
Mhm.
single at 7-2, 5-2, 3-1, something like that. And you beat a 4-5. Man, that jacks it up.
Yeah.
And you can spread elsewhere. So you got to find that one good horse. But anyway,
A couple last things here about Churchill I wanted to let the viewers know about. First
please.
off, in the Kelly's Landing, we saw the Aristides. That was going back to about a month ago. And our old friend Durante won it, the former Keith Craigmile trainee.
Oh, yeah.
And
Really?
That's right.
Durante, he'd actually had some success at Los Al in the daytime. He won a race by 6
Yeah.
lengths. It's actually off the form now. But Durante pulls his 30-1 upset, and he's back in the Kelly's Landing on Saturday. And it was like the perfect storm. The two fastest quarter mile horses in the world right now, world record and Skelly, were dueling. He was sitting in third. Plus, turns out the horse doesn't like a wet track. He had 3 straight wet tracks in a row. He got Jose Ortiz. The whole thing came together for 33-1. I thought that was pretty cool going back to his Los Al days. And then also on Sunday. Sunday is going to be the Pick Six Mega Bonanza. It's going to be assuming nobody hits it in the next couple of days, the jackpot. It should be in like a 1.3 range. Sunday's closing day at Churchill. They got to pay it out. I'm expecting basically the biggest pull of the summer until Del Mar starts. But I'm thinking if nobody hits it, that pick six at Churchill could be in that $4 to $5 million range for a 20 center on Sunday.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mm,
Good.
yeah, that's one to play into. No doubt about
Yep.
it. Well, excellent. Well, we certainly thank you, Caleb, for coming on board and sharing some of your stories and picks with us. And Mike, of course, always our resident handicapper in the north. But we do appreciate that, and we just want to say to everybody out there, thanks for watching, and click like, subscribe. Isn't that what we're supposed to say? I think
Click the subscribe.
yeah, whatever. But we do appreciate you all. And for us, we'd want to say a kiss for luck. Good luck out there.
Bye, everybody. Have fun.
Take care.